Greetings to all our mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers. This is a special edition of the Liberian Renaissance, changing minds and changing attitudes. Special because today we are coming to you from the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center for Women and Development here in Sincor, Monrovia. Our guest is Her Excellency Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and the center has celebrated 5 years of its existence. And the word that is out, it is doing so wonderfully well. We've come now to interview her on this Liberian Renaissance, changing minds and attitudes, to ask, how did it go on last Saturday? What are the plans for the center moving forward? What are her perspective on Liberia, the country she led for 12 years? How does she see Africa faring and women development across Africa and the world? I'm Larry Bropleh. At one point, you will hear from Ruben Dolly, the young man who is along with me on this program. Madam, we welcome you and happy 5th anniversary to the center.
Thank you, Larry, Dr. Bropleh. Thank you. And thanks to the management, LBS, for this special edition of Changing Mind, Changing Attitudes. I'm pleased to be here.
And you're doing good, madam. You look good. Your voice continuing to resound, particularly as you push for global peace, women's rights, and a just and democratic world. I'm almost envious of you at your age. I want to get to your age now, but not yet, not so fast. But you're doing well.
I do wish you get it.
I wish so too.
And I'm thankful to God, after all, for being able to keep me alive, giving me enough stamina and health to be able to carry on my work. So, and also just be pleased that I'm a Liberian, live in Liberia, spend my time promoting Liberia, and of course, you know, my main focus is the protection of women and the promotion of women to higher positions of leadership.
Absolutely, and that's why we're here. The Presidential Center for Women and Development celebrated 5 years this month, and Saturday was the climax of it all. It was an elaborate program. World leaders across Africa, and President Boyka was also in attendance. Madam, what can you tell us about the event? You must be very proud.
Well, you know, it was the 5th anniversary of the celebration at the EGS Center. The flagship program of that center is something we call the Amuje Initiative. Amuje is a Kru word that means going up. And on the Amuje Initiative, well, let me go back and tell you how we started.
Yes, please.
In 2018, when I accepted the Mo Ibrahim Prize for Good Governance in Abidjan, I stated in my speech that I will spend the better part of the rest of my life promoting women to higher positions. And I said it because of the long road I had to leadership to become president. I also said out of the prize money, I would donate a certain percentage of that prize money to being able to establish a center for the promotion and protection of women. That's how we started. March 8, 2020. It was International Women's Day. Right after that, COVID hit us. So in a way, you could say that for the first 2 years of our work, we couldn't do very much because all the nations was fighting COVID at that time. But we took off sufficiently to get started. And the first person who was there when we inaugurated the center was Dr. Ophelia Weeks.
And I saw her
She
on
became
Saturday.
the first executive director after she left the presidency of the University of Liberia. And she actually, those initial days, she really put everything into it, you know, forming the bylaws, forming the laws we need to do, all the different processes for being able to have a structured institution. She did a lot of that initial work. Well, we aim to have 15 women every year that will be recruited on the basis of recommendations from board members, on the basis of people who would apply, whatnot. Um, Today we have 42 of these women. We have 3 cohorts. With 5 years, but 3 cohorts because, like I said, 2 of our years were lost. And they're about to go to announce the 4th cohort. And let me say, when we started, those people who were with me in terms of the guidance, the support, Anthony Saya was a member of our board. We also have Sharif Abdullah, is a member of our board. We have Khalil Abujadi, he's a major person here. We have Stuart Cooper. Yes. Jamie Cooper. They had a big win. As a matter of fact, she was one who worked with me for initiating the Amuje initiative. She has transitioned from the board, but she continues to be part of the family as we see her. Linda Thomas Gramfies headed the foundation, which was based in the United States for those who want to benefit from the 501c3 facility to be able to have against the corporate taxes to be able to say Judy Moore was part of the foundation in the States. Raja Panjari, he did a lot of last mile health program here. So he was also on that foundation board. And Alida Black, she works with Hillary Clinton. And so these are all the people. So we have these Amuje leaders from 19 African countries. And the idea is to promote them, to advocate for them, to profile for them, to have some learning things where they will meet with mentors. And mentors are former women presidents. Me, Joyce Banda, all of the others we have. And let me mention a major member of our board was also Ngozi Okonjo Iweala. In fact, she was one of the WTO. Current head of the World Trade Organization. She was a major player. And so the other 2 pillars beside the Amuje initiative is strategic research and communication. And for that, we try to keep track of women's roles, those who are being promoted, those who are holding strategic position, Amuje leaders who have broken through a barrier to be able to get higher positions, whether it's in parliament, whether it's in executive position, whether it's in civil society. The idea is they will be able to move up. Then we have the library and archives. And the library, we've been collecting books, personal books, biographies, autobiographies, other books from Liberian writers, so that we're going to have a library that people can come, scholars can come, others can come for information on the history of countries, the thinking of people. And the archives is to be able to put up photographies, photos, writings, things of women who have made a difference in their society. Obviously, my own experience, will also be conveyed through digitized documents. And for my personal papers, the center has already signed an MOU with Harvard University Library. And so we expect not only my own experience and examples and photos will be displayed through digital communication items, but also other women in Africa who identify those women who have done so much in their societies to bring change, to promote development. Their photos and everything that we can get from them will also be displayed.
It'll be a rich library.
Very much so. My personal papers are now being held by Half House. They have a contract to hold it for scholars for time. Now, the presidential papers, those things that I signed when I was president, is here. The Harvard team is here for the program, exactly working with the security of the country to look at those papers and to categorize them and determine which can be digitized for exhibition purpose here, or which, in fact, all the originals go back to the National Archives of the country, but they're here to work with them to categorize it. And the last one, and the one that we didn't say too much about at the anniversary, was raising the money to be able to put out what we call Africa Women House. Musieja. Musieja is a fine name for Women House. Musieja, we have estimated about 10 million involved, but at least 2 million of that, 3 million of that will be for maintenance, to be able to ensure sustainability. Conceptual design. And the first one. And the other one would be the architect that's going to see how we are going to place the items in the building. And then, of course, we have a Liberian architect, female architect, got all of them. Karen Richards. She is now in charge because she has to take that conceptual design and break it down into what they call a BOQ.
Yes.
Those are quantitative. That would say exactly what it would cost. So list, all the plumbing materials, all of that. Her wife, she says hers will be finished by the end of June. Oh. And we know exactly what it is. And the idea is to use as much local material as possible.
And local manpower.
Yeah. Now, we asking, first of all, well, I'm sure you're going to get to be about the president. So I will leave that one for you to ask before you get to it. So,
preempting my interview.
Yeah, I know you're going to get to something to do that. So let's say that with those three pillars, and what we have said, the rest of our programs are also 10 million each for our programs and for our data hub, our research and communication. But now we can go on. I've given you something in. I would say one more thing about the meeting, because you see a lot of GIPs. Most of the people who came, well, what I call, we are all part of the former groups.
Right. Exactly. So, the elders.
The elders. President Obasanjo was here. President Sally Walk from Ethiopia, former president, was here. But we also have a very important person, Benita Diop.
She's the African Union Special Envoy for Peace and Security. She's from Senegal. She's from Senegal. And she's been very instrumental going back to the time when I was running my campaign for president. She was running something called Fence Solidarity.
I remember that.
And they were supporting me in those days. She was also here. Then we have Christopher Moyan, he's a Cameroonian working for National Democratic Institute. We call him the he for she.
Right.
And so they were also here as key people. Of course, we had many other local people, business people, officials of government, and all of that to make it a wonderful occasion. Our staff, we do have those who do not decide simply because we needed certain capability and talent. So the one who runs our dealer hub, our communication, is based in Dakar. The lady who runs our program, the Amuche Initiative, is based in Ghana. Of course, the archives are right here, and between Nelson and Sia Massey.
Yes.
They handle all of those.
Two dynamic women, I must say, because I work along with them.
Good.
Yes, talking about the guest at the anniversary. I spotted President Joe Boyka, and in his remarks, madam, he said something to the effect, oh, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Liberian government will contribute or build something. Did he?
Let me just not forget somebody before one of my board members
have a problem with
get
that.
angry with me. There are some with
Okay.
the Cameroonian lady, Dr. There are some very important persons. She works on all the issues for our country. So you see her. Okay. I went and visited the president after sending him a letter about the center. I visited him to give him more briefings on it and asked him to please attend the event, which he did. But he made a statement, and what he said is that I think this is a good thing because it will help the Liberian economy. The international guests that will be coming here are going to use facilities here. I know that purchasing power from all these people will come because we'll have programs there all the time. We expect that we will see not only what it will do for the economy, but for the overall reputation and credibility of the country. That is going to have an international institution sitting here, something we've been lacking. And also bear in mind, it's the first one.
Absolutely.
I dare to say in the world.
You're
when
correct.
it comes to a woman presidential, it's the first one.
You're correct.
So, I think it's fitting that the first democratically elected woman president should be the right one to put a building here, that will showcase the value of women, the contribution of women, and then Liberia will shine because Liberia will be the one. I can tell you, many people have said to me, take the Amuche initiative, put it in an institution, put it with a university, and we'll put your name on it. And my answer to that is no. Liberian women and Liberian people elected me president. If I have anything that I'm putting my time, my skills, and my money into, and also advocating to get money, it would have to be Liberia. And so, we are now completing the plans, and I'm calling on the you want to know what the
President said.
The president said, I like this facility. I like the objective of the center. I will make a personal contribution, and I will also make or also facilitate a government making a contribution. He did not call any amount
Okay.
for any of those commitments.
When we see him, we're asking. But
Yeah.
at least he made a commitment, public commitment, which is good. I think it's a step in the right direction. And we're happy for that. This is your program, The Liberian Renaissance, a special edition. And we're at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center for Women and Development. And we have Madam President with us. And we're talking about the 5-year anniversary of quite a center. Now, MasterCard Foundation. I understand that they like what you're doing, and are they associated with the center? Are they supporting what you do for women across Africa?
I sit on the board of MasterCard Foundation. Liberia is not one of their priority countries. They promote uh, training people for skills, promoting entrepreneurship, um, promoting digitization. They also promote health through for example, through Africa CDC. But the only support they give now to Liberia directly as far as the center is concerned is my board fees in keeping with MasterCard Foundation policy has to be used for some development purpose in the country. And so we have what we call the Liberia Support Program. We're helping 3 or 4 programs on this. It's not a huge amount of money, but it enables us to do something for Todi Mission, for his mission. And there's another one that promote a lot of training of young women. So those are the program, and that one is run by Kaumo, young lady. We hope we can expand that program to do more than what my board fees enables.
Toward your mission, it's close to your heart. Your mother gave so much, your family, in its previous days and its revitalization. Must be a proud moment for you.
It is. Todi Mission is the Presbyterian Church mission.
And your mother was a
My
Presbyterian
mother was a
minister.
Presbyterian minister, yes. And so anything we can do to enhance, Todi Mission and the young people that are there now, those are not just girls.
Right.
Todi Mission and Hayes Mission, these are, young boys, young girls. Hayes Mission was some missionaries that
Yes.
established that. It's in Bombing, so I go by it all the time and stop by it. It's a wonderful mission with young people. MasterCard is through MasterCard thing, they're now going they're learning most of the young people there on his mission about IT, how they can get the capability, for that. That's going well.
What's on the center's agenda moving beyond this anniversary of 5 years? What's there for young Liberian girls and women? Many of them seem to be so inspired by you, madam. What can you look forward to?
Our purpose is just what I said. We want to see more women in musicians. Take Liberia, take West Africa. The number of parliamentarians are way below the average in Africa. Most of the African countries have reached the level. Women parliamentarians, some have almost 50. When you're dealing
Like
with
Rwanda.
Rwanda has the highest number of women parliamentarians in the world,
Yes.
not just in Africa.
Yes.
South Africa, Uganda, most of those countries. Senegal is now moving, is the only one in West Africa. So somewhere between 23, 26%. But Liberia and West Africa are very low. I mean, what do we have? How many parliamentarians we have? I don't want to call the number because I don't remember it yet. But we should all look at that and see and compare it. The data help. What we ought to do though is to have the center have a session with the women, invite the women parliamentarians if they would be willing to come, and to just talk about it and talk about what did Rwanda do, what did South Africa do, what did Democratic Republic of Congo do, what did Namibia do. In fact, many talking about Namibia. Let me come back to some of our aims. The second woman president in Africa, democratically elected, will be inaugurated March 21.
Yes.
And I will be there because we both were in the Beijing conference of 1995.
Yes.
It's now 30 years. She was there, I was there. I was then head of the Africa Bureau in UNDP. So you see, that's the progress, but not enough progress. The second one, I pledged. I can't make it happen myself, but I said through our effort, we'll have at least 5 women presidents in 10 years. That's not a big number, but it's something we all have to work for. If we already have 2 now. Tanzania has a woman who's acting president. She may actually run, and we do what we can to be able to see. So maybe she'll become the 3rd president historically, and then we'll go on from there.
Madam, I want to stick with this for a little bit because you are a Liberian, first woman to be elected Liberia across Africa. And there are so many women across the world and in Africa that seek their inspiration from you, and they're climbing the ladder, they're in the legislature. But in Liberia, I don't know whether it is the mindset thing, but we don't seem to be so excited to push women forward. I'll give you a case in point before you answer. There's not going to be a by-election in Nemba. One of the candidates, we know that there at least one woman who wants to run, but one of the what appear to be maybe one of the leading candidates, have spoken disparagingly about women and said that that position that Senator Prince Johnson, peace be to his ashes, left is not for a woman, but it's for a man. These kinds of utterances keep women not to move forward because everybody is not going to be brazen like Ellen Johnson's story. What's our problem?
Well, I told people I'm out of partisan politics, but let me say this. Anyone who makes that kind of statement as relating to women now belongs in history. It belongs in the archives of history because they're not in tune with the world today. And it's just anybody should be ashamed. If this is a man who made those statements, as you said,
Yes.
what does he think about his daughter? What does he think about his wife? Would he want them not to succeed based on their own energies and what? You just have to be, I feel sorry for anyone who feels that way because they need to go and re-examine their own thinking and their own abilities. Something's wrong with that.
And part of the center's programs is about emboldening women, I'm correct, to step up politically and find their way.
That is our mission. Bill building women up requires expanding the opportunities for learning through academics, the training of that, through experiences, through reading, all the things that we expect the center to do to prepare the women, involving them in international work and making sure that they get what they need. One of our very proud Amujay leader who was in the first cohort group, the first initial group, is Yvonne Akisoya, the mayor of Freetown.
Yes, I know her.
On International Women's Day, she announced her intent to campaign for the presidency.
All right.
And so we are
Inspired by Ellen
yes,
Johnson Sirleaf.
very much so. Now, the center itself is not partisan.
Right.
It's apolitical because it should not interfere.
Right. Apolitical.
Yes,
Yes.
apolitical, out of the business from people in internal political affairs. But we do by continuing our work of promoting women, by making the example of those countries that whose laws and whose policies and whose practices have enabled women to succeed to high positions. We will be playing those as examples to others. And we hope that her campaign will be strong, successful. She's done very well. She has good international contact. Development activities are so profound. As a matter of fact, I think she has been working with the two mayors here in Liberia.
Yes.
The Monrovia
Mayor
City
Siafa
Mayor
and
the
Mayor Bestman,
the
Painesville.
Painesville City Mayor.
Yes.
She's been working with them, giving them examples of how they can improve their work. So we're just proud of what she's been able to accomplish.
This is your program, The Liberian Renaissance, a special edition. We're at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center for Women and Development. They've just celebrated 5 years, and it's amazing what they've accomplished so far. We're here with Her Excellency President Sirleaf, and we're winding down this interview, and we're learning quite a bit. I want to stick with the guest list a little bit. I am always in awe of President Obasanjo. A, he never seems to want to slow down like you. And B, he seems ultra supportive of whatever you try to do in the interest of moving Liberia forward. And I was happy to see him here.
We call him, like others do, Baba. And I have always been connected with Baba, going back to 79, when he, as a military leader, gave up the quest for the presidency to allow a democratic process to take place. And since then, Nigeria has moved in that direction. And so I followed his movements around the country, his promotion of peace, security, reconciliation in society has taken him from country to country, from events to events, with a mediation that is required to ensure that people work in unison. And so he was there when we launched the center, and most of our major activities has been a part of it. And so he's just somebody that, and look, his age, I mean, he just turned 87, just a few days ago, something like
You
that.
call that just?
Well,
He doesn't look it though. He doesn't act it like you.
well, you know,
Age is just a number.
absolutely. if you see him, I mean, he's been playing squash for the past years of his life. He can jump up and down. People saw him at my birthday celebration.
Yes, I was here and I saw that.
He jumped. I even did not want to jump. Well, he could jump as much as I tried to do things.
Wonderful, wonderful.
But before we go, I have to tell you a very
We're not going now.
vice person in the center that I did not speak about, but he's very instrumental. George Warren.
I was going to ask about George.
George is a typical person who knows so much about Liberia's history, who has done so much in education. He was the Minister of Education
Yes.
in my administration.
Came
And
up with
since
some
then,
bold
he's
plans.
worked with me in so many other ways. Some of the programs that I worked on in the health sector, because Ebola gave me an opportunity to start a whole program that's now blossoming on the promotion of community health workers. And he has worked with me on that program. When I finish here, I'm going to start a program, a Zoom meeting. Part of the program is supporting community health. And George has worked with me on that. And so when our last executive director transitioned, because she wanted to go back to her country, Gambia, to prepare herself for elections,
Oh my.
a presidential election, which she tried before and didn't make it. So she's going back to try again. And we have to go through a long process to get the successor for the next executive director. So we have asked George to sit in as officer in charge. And that's to make sure that he provides some of the technical underpinnings that we need until the executive director comes. But the rest of the staff are all professionals, all of them, in their own training, in their own capacities. All of them are called directors, and they all came to it through a competitive process. My granddaughter is there, Chanel, but it took me a long time. She has her master's. It took me a long time to convince her to leave the United States, where she's a citizen, and to come and work here.
And she's been doing a great job. I've worked with her on
I didn't want to call your name, but Dr. Bropleh provides legal service to the center, as to others. Our main one is the former Solicitor General of Liberia, Mary Lavin. She is the main lawyer for the center. So we use Liberian people. Someday I hope the whole staff will be Liberian. Maybe we'll get to that sometime.
But mind you, it's an international center, so you want a flavor of not just Liberians.
You're correct about that, but
Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, this is who she is. Now, we're winding down, madam, I can assure you. I just got one or two more, and then I'll let Ruben ask his questions, and then we'll close out on Memorial Day on tomorrow. In recent weeks, we wake up in the morning, we hear the police and motorbike people with clashes. We wake up in the morning, we hear the police and the military people with clashes. And you were president for 12 years, and you took Liberia out of the rut, literally, worked with international partners and organizations, and build a professional police force, build a professional army. What's happening? Why are these things? They seem like the slippage is backward rather than rising forward, madam.
I don't know why. Because there's absolutely no reason for this type of confusion. Liberia is seen as an example of a nation that has had two successful transitions, two former presidents resident in the country, and another president carrying on the agenda that was set forth in the country a long time ago through the first regime right after the war, when we built peace. You know, the agenda for that was set. All it required continuity, and all it requires is personal commitment and sacrifice. Liberia is a poor country. We don't need to make ourselves poorer by our own action. I think Betty Warner, the former
Anyone? Yes,
president,
yes, yes.
he said,
Methodist
he
bishops.
said the trouble with us is
It's
us.
us.
Why Liberians do not like to work, do not like to take responsibility, always finding fault with something with somebody else. You know, just look at what we have and what we can do. And so all this clamor, you know, I suggest people should read my statement that's in the Analyst today.
Yes.
And I'm going to get a lot of calls if people will tell me, good thing you see here, you're troubling the people, you know, you humbug the, the legislature, you humbug the Supreme Court. I'm not humbugging anybody. You read it, you will see where I say these things should not be. And silence is wrong. If you do not speak out against wrong, then you collaborate. Then you are part of the world. So the president only has been in office 1 year. So everyone has conceded that he needs more time. And so nobody should make it more difficult for him to be able to carry out the agenda. If everybody else, whether it's the judicial system, whether it's the legislature, whether it's the civil society, if everybody were doing their share and doing it peacefully, it would make it so easy for the president to carry out the agenda. So the way it is now, everybody's just all over the place, you know, everybody doing their own thing, whatnot. And so it's so wrong. And so I wrote about that, and I just hope that people will see it and they will look at what I'm saying, that Liberia has done so much. We're a resilient people, you know, and each time we have had trouble, we've come back up.
Yes.
Each time we come back up. Well, how many times you will keep putting yourself down and coming back up? When will you start going step by step, up, 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 until you achieve everything? I hope those who are listening to this, you know, audience will realize that you can't put the fault on any one group or any one person or
Collective.
any one institution. It's because all of us have allowed it to happen. Because we refuse to do what we are supposed to do. Each and every one of us.
Well said. This is your program, The Liberian Renaissance. We just got about 2 more questions to go. We're in conversation with Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former President of the Republic of Liberia. We're at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center for Women and Development. My next question you've already answered, you know, just say it for the record. How is Liberia faring as a nation, and are you pleased? You already answered that. So I would just move on. Ruby?
Ruby, you think I answer it?
Go ahead, madam, please.
No, I asked him Ruby. No.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I answer it correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I always like to hear
So you give me 100%.
Yes, ma'am. One
Okay.
greetings, Madam President.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Ruben D. Dolly Jr., and I'm excited to meet you again today.
Okay.
Madam President, in your opinion, what are the most pressing challenges currently facing the youth of Liberia, and how do you think these challenges can be effectively
jobs. The youth need jobs. But to get jobs, you have to have the businesses, the institutions that will create those jobs. That's what's lacking. Private capital, private investment in Liberia is at a very low level because they see all the confusion that goes on. Youth must at all times have the right to protest, but they must protest in peace. When motorcyclists go and burn police stations, a motorcyclist go and harm somebody, because of something that no one had control that happened to them. Maybe motorcyclists get hurt. And they get angry because motorcyclists get hurt because of the conditions, because the police hasn't done enough to keep them off the street. Then they go and they rage. That is sending a message to the world that the country is not stable. And nobody wants to put their money in a country that's not stable. We get the big corporations. What do they come for? They come for the extractive industries. They come to take the gold. They come to take the iron ore. They are gone. They will take it the way it comes from the earth and send it where it will produce the steel. It will produce all the other things in another country. They're not doing it here. Our population is small. If we want to really attract private capital here, given the smallness, they've got to see a conducive environment. They've got to see a place where business is welcome. They've got to stop people who go to the airport and investors come. The next thing asking them, your son here, your friend here, asking for money.
Not just the airport
doing
people,
things.
government officials
and
as
it's
well.
done at all levels, whether it's at the airport or whether it's at the ministry, where somebody say, you can buy me lunch today. Or on a bigger level, whether it's legislators, whether it's people in the presidency, whether it's asking investor, or before you can get your contract signed, before you can get your concession agreement signed, you gotta put some money there. It's wrong. And somebody say, yeah, you president. People think I got plenty of money. When I die and they see my will, they will know I got plenty of money. Said they would maybe believe it while I'm alive. Let them wait till I die. Then they will say, oh, she gave it to her son Robert, or she gave it to her son this. Lie. Because I grew up in a different environment where honesty, hard work, humility is what we live by. That's what got me where I am. That's what got me the prominent person I am. Because I work in other people's institutions. And I spend my time doing my job the way I'm supposed to do it. And I earn the money on the basis of how I work. From working in a restaurant with cleaning tables for people when I was going to college. To today, to presidency, when I stayed at 11 o'clock in the night working. Or today, when I work as old as I am, I still work every day. That's why I can be proud to be where I am. Because nobody, no single person can say to me, you came to me, you asked me for this. I work hard for me to raise money for the center because I'm too proud to ask people for anything. Anyway, Ruby, I answer your question?
That's all.
But please carry on.
The Liberian Renaissance in conversation with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf tomorrow, second Wednesday in March, is set aside as Decoration Day or Memorial Day as the legislature. Not too long ago, you joined some of the families in memorializing former President Tolbert and other people who have now gone to the great beyond. In recent years, we're seeing that Decoration Day seems to be misguided. People use it more for going to the grave sites, drinking and merrymaking. But we have a nation that needs to seek a lot of healing and reconciliation because of the things that have happened to those who have gone before us. Madam, I know, let me personalize a little bit, that you will be remembering your children, your sister, and others, and your parents. What can you say to Liberians as we wake up tomorrow, as we go to the cemetery, we lay flowers? What can we say about how we should embrace this day to the benefit of the unity of our country and the memories of those who have gone before us?
As our forefathers meant it and legalized it to make it a holiday, it's meant for the time for reverence, the time for memory of those who, your family, your friends, your associates, who have lived their lives, most times making major sacrifices, but have gone, and the time to remember them, the time to memorialize them. In my administration, we tried to find out all the previous presidents, to find their graves that are scattered all over the place. And it hurts when one or two we can't even find, to be able to memorialize them, to thank them for their service. That was the purpose of this. I have two sons who were, they were not young because I married very young. So my children got old too quickly. But it's a deep pain for a mother to lose her children. So the way I see the day is not only going to their grave and being able to have something, but to also celebrate what they did. Because what they did was to serve until the time that God took them away. I hear there's a new thing now for Memorial Day. That go will carry copa and food to the grave and drinks to the grave, and they say they celebrate it. Yes, you can celebrate the life of those who have gone beyond, for how they served, for who they were. But to take it as a day when you coming to make merry, please leave that day for reverence. Leave that day to remember those who you love so much and who have gone. Please, they're not there in heaven, or if they're in heaven,
We hope not.
we hope not, for someday. We hope that they will be able to be smiling down, and praying for you or asking God to help you. That's what we want to see in Memorial Day. And I hope everybody listening to this is playing tonight, right?
Yes.
I hope they will see this and change their mind and say tomorrow, I will go to the grave and remember them, and I will go home and just enjoy the day with my family and with my children with reverence to those who have gone before.
Before I ask you for your closing comments, let me just interject this because you talk about former presidents. Upper Buchanan in Grand Bassa County, where you've been and gifted us there by your visit to my late aunt in Somerville and the school there. But Stephen Allen Benson, Liberia's second president, his grave, we build a monument there. He actually died, madam, by drowning. He used to come from Monrovia with a boat, and right outside of Upper Buchanan, where his farm was, and he got drowned, and so he was buried on the edge of the river. We constructed, the Upper Buchanan Development Association constructed a monument there, And so every year we make sure, in fact, throughout the year, that we go, we paint it, and we lay flowers to remember him because not only was he from our area, but he served Liberia as president. And so, like you have said, finding the graves of all of our former president, I think is something that we must do. Madam, thank you so much. Your closing comments.
Thank you. Well, again, just to thank ELPS, the management, the head for making this program always available, for making sure that you come on. They're working for changing minds, changing attitudes. I don't think we've reached
We're on the way.
the place where we want to say we've made a big difference, but that's what continuity is about. You keep doing it. You keep doing it until it resonates in people's minds. Memorial Day again, to say let's all say a word for all of our leaders who have gone beyond. The family of President Talbot and the many who died with him are now find a way to memorialize them. So I think many of us can do what we can to make a contribution to that effort. At the same time, we must always find a way to memorialize President Doe, whom unfortunately we don't have the means to go and lay wreath, just like we don't have to lay leaf on Talbot. He's going to go with all the other people who died with him. Those are the unfortunate part, but they are leaders and they're gone. We can all tomorrow, if it's only to say a word of prayer, for their children, for their family, for what they suffer, and thank them. They were not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But they serve our country and they served it well as they could. So we need to thank them and memorialize them tomorrow. So the Liberian people, kept talking the way to put it together. You're bleaching your way. No, man, we get tired. Every day you're fussing with people. Every day you're quarreling with people. Every day. Stop stealing. Stop begging. Please, do what you're supposed to do. Make Liberia shine. Please, let us all do things that will make Liberia proud. You could have put people down, getting proud of Ghana. Everything going to Ghana. Everything now running to Sierra Leone. Our own people. On the weekend, I'm told, go see the line. Everybody running to Freetown. People used to be running to Monrovia. Why we let Monrovia spoil like this? So people running now to go spend their weekend in Freetown, or go spend their weekend in Accra, or go spend their weekend in Abidjan, or go spend their weekend in Conakry. Come on. You gotta do the right thing so that Liberia can be what it was meant to be. A proud nation of liberated people. God bless you on Memorial Day tomorrow.
The voice of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I always say a maverick. A woman who has given so much, not just to Liberia and Liberians, but across Africa and the world. We've been in conversation with her on the grounds of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center for Women and Development. 5 years and still going, hoping to construct complex where they'll be able to train women across Africa and the world and empower so many people, a library where people can come and see and learn about so many things. This is Liberia. True changing minds and changing attitudes moment. I've been here, Larry Bropleh, along with Ruben Dolly, and Damawa Kamara Fofana has been our social media expert. This program will be rebroadcast on Saturday at 4 p.m. on ELBC and on Radio West on 107.3 in Grand Bassa County, Buchanan. Until next time, be an agent of change. So long.